West, are you ready to be sentenced? I've already indicated what I've reviewed. I've considered all lawful options in regard to sentencing. That's for both defendants. All my discretion that I do have. When I get to Jacqueline West, we'll talk more about that. Actual credits are 577 plus zero good and works for a total of 577. And when we're all done, I'll ask Mr. Smith how the people wish to proceed on the count that the jury on. In regard to count 1, second-degree murder, probation is denied. You are sentenced to the Department of Corrections for the term prescribed by law of 15 years to life. You are to pay restitution in an amount to be determined by the probation department at the direction of the court to the restitution fund pursuant to Penal Code Section 1202.4F2 for victim compensation and government claims towards reimbursement to the victim. I will note that you did not complete the prohibited persons relinquishment form or report in regard to firearms, but there were 2 firearms seized. Those, as I understand it, are in the possession of law enforcement, and they are to be used or destroyed by law enforcement as they see fit. I'm referencing the police report numbers that were referenced in the trial. You have some fees and fines: $40 pursuant to Penal Code Section 1465.8, $30 pursuant to Government Code Section 70373, a restitution fine of $300 pursuant to Penal Code Section 1202.4B, and a second $300 restitution fine pursuant to Penal Code Section 1202.45. That fine is suspended. If you're paroled and your parole is revoked, you pay that, otherwise you do not. Count 2, Penal Code Section 192B, probation is denied. You are sentenced to the Department of Corrections for the low term of 2 years. Punishment for that sentence is stayed, and that should actually be midterm, which I believe is 3 years, if I'm not mistaken.
3 years on count 2.
Midterm of 3 years. Punishment for that sentence as to count 2 is stayed pursuant to Section 654 of the Penal Code until the successful completion of the sentence I have imposed and permanently thereafter. As to count 2, you have a fee of $40 pursuant to Penal Code Section 1465.8 and $30 pursuant to Government Code Section 70373. Count 3, Penal Code Section 273AA. Probation is denied. You are sentenced to the Department of Corrections for the midterm, which is
4 years.
4 years, concurrent with the sentence that I have imposed already. You have a fee of $40 pursuant to Penal Code Section 1465.8 and $30 pursuant to Government Code Section 70373. Count 6, Penal Code Section 273AA. Probation is denied. You are sentenced to the Department of Corrections for the midterm
Of 4 years.
of 4 years, and that's fully consecutive to the sentence I have imposed. So it's a total sentence of an indeterminate term of 15 years to life plus 4 years. You also have a fee of $40 pursuant to Penal Code Section 1465.8 and $30 pursuant to Government Code Section 70373. Count 7, Penal Code Section 148.3A, probation is denied. You're sentenced to the Kern County Jail for 1 year. Is this a misdemeanor?
I believe so, yes.
364 days. And that's concurrent. And you have a fee of $40 pursuant to Penal Code Section 1465.8 and $30 pursuant to Government Code Section 70373. In addition, I am advising you, pursuant to Penal Code Section 29810, that any person who is convicted of any offense listed in Sections 29800 or 29805 of the Penal Code is prohibited from owning, purchasing, receiving, possessing, or have under their custody or control any firearms, ammunition, and ammunition feeding devices, including but not limited to magazines, any persons subject to those code sections shall relinquish all firearms within the deadline period set forth in subdivision D or E of Penal Code Section 29810 by surrendering the firearms to a local law enforcement agency, selling them to a licensed firearms dealer, or transferring them for storage to a firearms dealer pursuant to Section 29830. You are remanded to the custody of the sheriff and then the Department of Corrections to serve your time. I will read you your appeal rights after I sentence Jacqueline Owens. As to Jacqueline West, I have considered everything that I reviewed and also arguments and comments from Ms. Flores Collins and from Mr. Smith. Jacqueline West is not the victim. Let's just be clear. Anybody that knows me knows, whether you like it or not, that in different cases, I don't do what probation recommends. There have been cases that have been serious cases where I have suspended the sentence and given probation. This is not one of those cases. I understand all the options open to me for sentencing, and I'm going to sentence Jacqueline West what I believe to be the appropriate sentence in the eyes of the law and in consideration of all arguments and discretion that I do have. Jacqueline West, are you ready to be sentenced? Your credits are 577 actual, 0 good and work, for a total of 577 days. In regard to count 1, second-degree murder, probation is denied. You are sentenced to the Department of Corrections for the term prescribed by law of 15 years to life. You have not completed a prohibited persons relinquishment form, but you do not have any reportable firearms pursuant to the probation officer's report. You were present in the courtroom when I read to your husband the advisal under Penal Code Section 29810 about probation of firearms, etc. Did you hear that? And, okay, you want me to read it to you again? No? Yes. Okay. You are advised pursuant to Penal Code Section 29810 that any person who is convicted of any offense listed in sections 29800 or 29805 of the Penal Code is prohibited from owning, purchasing, receiving, possessing, or having under their custody or control any firearms, ammunition, and ammunition-feeding devices, including but not limited to magazines. Any person subject to those code sections shall relinquish all firearms to a designee within the time period set forth in subdivision D or E of Penal Code Section 29810 by surrendering the firearms to the control of a local law enforcement agency, selling them to a firearms dealer, or transferring them for storage to a firearms dealer pursuant to Section 29830, understanding that probation indicates you do not have any firearms. You are to pay restitution in regard to count 1 in an amount to be determined by the probation department at the direction of the court to the restitution fund pursuant to Penal Code Section 1202.4F for victim compensation and government claims towards reimbursement to the victim. You have a fee of $40 pursuant to Penal Code Section 1465.8 and $30 pursuant to Government Code Section 70373. You have a restitution fine of $300 pursuant to Penal Code Section 1202.4B and a second restitution fine of $300 pursuant to Penal Code Section 1202.45. Payment of that fine is suspended. If you're paroled and your parole is revoked, you have to pay that, otherwise you do not. In regard to count 2, Penal Code Section 192B, probation is denied. You are sentenced to the Department of Corrections for the midterm of 3 years. Punishment for that sentence is stayed pursuant to Section 654 of the Penal Code until the successful completion of the sentence I have imposed and permanently thereafter. In regard to count 2, you have a fee of $40 pursuant to Penal Code Section 1465.8 and $30 pursuant to Government Code Section 70373. Count 3, Penal Code Section 273AA. Probation is denied. You are sentenced to the Department of Corrections for the middle term of 4 years, concurrent with the sentence I have imposed in count 1 and count 2. You have a fee of $40 pursuant to Penal Code Section 1465.8 and $30 pursuant to Government Code Section 70373. Count 6, Penal Code Section 273AA, probation is denied. You are sentenced to the Department of Corrections for the middle term of 4 years, fully consecutive to the sentence I have imposed. So your total sentence is a total indeterminate term of 15 years to life plus 4 years. In regard to count 6, you have a fee of $40 pursuant to Penal Code Section 1465.8 and $30 pursuant to Government Code Section 70373. Count 7, Penal Code Section 148.3, subsection A, probation is denied. You're sentenced to the Kern County Jail for 364 days, concurrent with the sentence I have imposed. You have a fee of $40 pursuant to Penal Code Section 1465.8 and $30 pursuant to Government Code Section 70373. In regard to your appeal rights, I'm going to read those to you. I'll read it once to both defendants, and then each of you will receive your own copy. Make sure that you have that. This is entitled Notification of Appeal Rights, Rule 4.305 of the California Rules of Court. You each have an absolute right to appeal. It's not contingent on each other. You perfect your appeal by filing a notice of appeal with the clerk of the Kern County Superior Court within 60 days of the date judgment was pronounced. Today is the day that I'm pronouncing judgment. Today is Thursday, September 28th, 2023. You have a right to counsel to represent you on appeal. If you cannot afford counsel, you should petition the Court of Appeal 5th Appellate District to appoint an attorney to represent you. A transcript of all matters in this court on appeal will be provided to your appellate counsel as required by the California Rules of Court. The names and addresses are Tamara Harbor Pickens, Clerk of the Superior Court, Attention Appeals Unit, 1415 Truxton Avenue, Bakersfield, California, 93301, and Court of Appeal, 5th Appellate District, 2424 Ventura Street, Fresno, California, 93721. I've read this once, but this is applicable to each of you individually. And hand 2 pieces of paper, it's the same document, to our judicial courtroom assistant, who's going to hand it to our bailiff, that will hand it to each of you personally. There are a couple other matters to address. Both defendants are remanded to the custody of the sheriff and then the Department of Corrections to serve their time. Once we conclude here in Department 4, there will be no further filming in Department 4. There's a designated area within the courthouse. You can check with our public information officer for that. The protective order will be lifted as soon as we're done speaking and counsel are done speaking. In regard to any criminal protective order issued, that is within the jurisdiction of the juvenile court and will be handled by the juvenile court. Before we get to the remaining count that the jury did not make a determination on, Mr. Smith, is there anything further to discuss or bring up on the record today?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Hennessy?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
Ms. Torres-Stallings?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. In regard to the remaining count, which the jury did not make a unanimous decision on, what is the people's position?
Your Honor, I see counts 4 and 5 as to both Trezel and Jacqueline West equal number dismissed.
Any objection, Mr. Hennessy?
No, Your Honor.
Ms. Torres-Stallings?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Those counts 4 and 5 as to each defendant are dismissed, and we are in recess.